It's only been a week since Blacklisted 2, but the next PM Major is already in full swing over on the West Coast. SoCal's Balc team has put together the Big Balc, which has drawn in all of the best players on the West Coast, in addition to heavy hitters like Junebug, Flip, Oracle, and Lunchables. In Final Bracket, two of the West Coast's rising stars are meeting in bracket for the first time in Winners Round 2. On the right, of course, is ThundeRzReiGN. Although we've mostly talked about him in this series since his breakout at Final Boss for having relatively underwhelming results, most notably at Shuffle and Supernova, he actually flew back out to New York for another regional after Supernova and won the tournament over Flip from Winners. More recently, he took a whopping 9 stocks from some of SoCal's best players, including Sosa and I Punch Kids, in a crew battle yesterday against SoCal. So it's safe to say that Thunder's stock is as high as it's ever been. Sitting next to him is Jose V. Jose V is Sosa's practice partner. They live in the same city of Riverside, and Jose V has been quickly rising to the top of SoCal. So far, his national placements in 2016 haven't quite kept up with his local results, but in SoCal he's picked up wins over everyone in the region, including Sosa. But yesterday, his trend of bad luck at nationals continued, as he took a loss to Ghoulie in pools, a Connecticut Sonic who was really more infamous for talking shit on Facebook than his results until that win. So Jose made it out of pools with a slightly lower seed, and now he has to play Thunders in Winners Round 2. Game 1 starts off in explosive fashion. Within 20 seconds, Thunders finds a roll read on Jose and converts it into a kill confirm at 60%, taking a lead that will last for all of 15 seconds before Jose evens things up. The two players struggle to gain an extended lead, trading slow but unanswered combos to take stocks back to back until Jose manages to mash out of a grab by Thunders, immediately converting into an extended edge guard that helps him take the stock. And then, that lead helps him take Game 1. With newfound momentum, Jose starts off Game 2 strong. He immediately gets Thunders to 60% off a single combo and dominates the entire first 2 stocks, taking a minute and a half to drop even his first as Thunders finally clips him with a stray up air to get on the board. But just as quickly as it was developed, that lead quickly begins to slip away. Thunders gets a single opening, and it's enough to get a huge combo and send Jose off stage. And then, with one hard read on Jose V trying to upbeat back onto stage instead of taking the ledge that he was being given, Thunders gets his grab and evens up the game. It finally feels like Thunders is starting to find momentum, but he gets way too overeager off stage, and ends up killing himself going for a greedy edge guard, giving Jose V the lead once again, and then immediately taking 80% off of a combo down from the Angel Plat by Jose. But Thunders quickly takes his next stock, with his second read of the game that Jose V will drift as far as he can towards center stage to try and gain a positional advantage, and calling it out hard with an up smash. The last stock is pretty much textbook Thunders. He puts on 65% from a single combo, and as soon as they get into another scuffle situation, he finds his grab, ending the game with another giant punch. Jose V immediately runs it back to PS2 for Game 3, but this time, it's Thunders with momentum. He immediately combos Nest off stage, and although Jose lives for another minute, tacking on occasional damage, he still drops the first stock eventually, and then immediately falls victim to yet another 0 to death by Thunders. Now he's facing the same deficit that Thunders was in Game 2, and Thunders, similar to Jose last game, is simply refusing to die. It takes almost 2 minutes for Jose V to find the grab that will eventually let him take the first stock, but Thunders immediately comes back down and puts on 92%. And this is where the game gets weird. Unable to finish the stock, Thunders goes out for an aggressive edge guard at 0%, and Jose V, despite already being down a stock, takes the chance to trade his stock with a suicide down air against Thunders, maintaining his stock deficit, but making sure that at the very least he's not going to go down 3-1. The next stock, Jose V does a great job of tacking on damage, but Thunders keeps going high, making it difficult for Ness to actually edgeguard him, until eventually another shield grab nets Jose a back throw. On last stock, Jose gets a combo to put on some damage, more or less evening up the game, and then the two of them just start scrambling. Jose V gets sent off stage and does the most panicked high up B of all time. barely living ThundeR's fair and making it back on stage. ThundeRz gets a grab at kill percent, which would be guaranteed into a cargo up throw up air, but he makes a mistake. He back throws Ness, giving Jose V yet another chance, and then he misses the edge guard. ThundeRz is able to successfully keep Jose V cornered, but twice, Jose V is able to air dodge around crucial edge guard attempts by ThundeRz, barely keeping him in the game, and then giving him a chance to get ThundeRz off stage. Which leads to nothing. These two return to the most panicked neutral you've ever seen. Jose starts throwing out PK Flash in neutral, and then ThundeRz makes it to the ground and throws out a raw giant punch. Maybe hoping that the move Super Armor and just all around massive hitbox will help him close out the game. That whiffed punch gives Jose V the chance to get a grab. He pushes ThundeRz towards the blast zone until he eventually confirms fair into Ness's neutral air, a move strong enough to send DK off the side blast zone and win the set 2-1 for Jose V. And this isn't just a big win for Jose, it's a big win for SoCal. Not only did ThundeRz demolish SoCal's best players at Final Boss, he did it again in yesterday's crew battle. And for Jose to take the win on his home turf in SoCal is a big deal. And that's not all. After this set, Jose V goes on to beat Venom, I Love Bagels, West Balls, and Sosa to place 5th at the Big Balc, rocketing himself into the top echelon of PM's competitors with just one tournament. This set stands out not just because it's a breakout moment for Jose V, but also because it's a reminder of how new and unique PM's meta was at this time. You can go back to back having crazy 0-deaths, and you can have people throwing out PK Flash and Raw Punch in neutral in the same game. Players like ThundeRzReiGN and Jose V were already masters of their characters, but as they began to push themselves at the national level, we could see the nerves getting to them. For those of us who have been watching PM for a long time, most of the names that I'm talking about as I move through this series are people that we've been watching play for years. But at some point, this was their breakout tournament. They had never been on the big stage before. They had never been fighting the best players in the world with hundreds of people watching. And going back and recognizing when they hit that point and how they moved past it is a really important part of the experience of watching these players become the national competitors that they ended up becoming. This was far from the most polished set of 2016, or even Big Balc for that matter, but it does absolutely represent the excitement that came with early 2016's competitive meta, where players of every character and from every region were showing up with something to prove and figuring it out along the way.